One of the most significant milestones for my channel was becoming one of the pioneers in latte art at home. Not only that my channel was among the few to demonstrate that it's feasible, I also put a lot of emphasis on the minimal time and capital investment required. It's worth noting that this topic gained considerable traction approximately 3 years ago, coinciding with the peak of the pandemic. With just a French press, a cup of well-brewed coffee, and a pitcher, you could easily recreate the cafe experience that many people missed during that time. Or, at the very least, you can flex your magical wizardry on social media. 3 years later, I've come to realize that my enthusiasm for this topic has waned, quite significantly to be frank. Many excellent cafe roasters have returned to unrestricted operations, and the value of making your own latte has fallen off a cliff. Just look at my video statistics. Sure, it was not a good video, but this is still very telling. Perhaps the general public has concluded that this skill is no longer relevant. It's possible that the required investments are no longer justified, given the abundance of options available. Upon reflection, I've also noticed that I don't do latte art at home myself often anymore. While it's enjoyable on some occasions, circumstances have drastically changed. As we tend to spend less time at home nowadays, the motivation that was once there is just no more. I now find myself making latte art only for special occasions or once every 2 to 3 weeks. You know, just to maintain my muscle memory. I think several issues have contributed to my changing perspective on latte art. First is the milk dilemma. UHT and lower fat milks are generally unsuitable for my method, as they're way too challenging to texture with a French press. Non-UHT full fat milk, while ideal for my method, is high in saturated fat and has a short shelf life. It's cost inefficient and potentially detrimental to your long-term health. Substituting with alternative dairy types or milks yields subpar results at best. Second, achieving the correct milk temperature consistently is often problematic. The heating process, typically done in a separate vessel, is complex. Even after 5 years of practice, I haven't found a reliable method to streamline this process. Microwaving a microwave-safe French press glass has been my best approach so far, but this limits you to a specific setup. It isn't possible with many French presses, and you'll need to adjust the time and power for each specific milk quantity, limiting you to a very cumbersome workflow. You see, the whole process of making latte art demands a lot of focus. Even for a 6-year quote-unquote veteran like me, latte art still requires a ridiculous amount of concentration. One small disturbance can lead into a complete failure, and even if everything was perfect, the latte will be ruined if served improperly. If you are in a hurry or are not in a position to get distracted from work, there's little point in creating latte art. In that case, a quickly mixed hot milk and espresso drink would still surpass any Starbucks drink. And that kind of drink can be very flexible too. You can transfer it into a thermos, which will be almost indistinguishable from a properly executed latte. Yes, that's far from perfect, but you get the idea. Even with all of that considered, the most significant deterrent for me has always been the cleanup. While the brewing, frothing, and pouring might be an enjoyable 5-minute routine, cleaning all the equipment and sorting out the spills can easily consume an additional 5 to 10 minutes, assuming you didn't mess up, of course. This effort has always been increasingly difficult to justify for me, and all those things lead me to turn into simply brewing espresso on top of chilled low-fat milk, a much more convenient method that doesn't take a lot of effort and time. To be clear, the entire latte art process can be relaxing, enjoyable, and fulfilling. However, these issues have gotten the better of me as the days go by, and now I'm in a point where I ponder whether latte art was never truly meant for home execution in the first place. Despite these challenges, it's still never my best interest to abandon this approach. In an attempt to find solutions, in the next few videos, I'll explore various options. I'll be looking at potential workarounds, ranging from sophisticated automatic equipment to just streamlining every bit as much as possible in an attempt to determine if these issues can be resolved. While we may not find a definitive solution, at least I'm confident that we'll uncover intriguing insights along the way, just as with our previous experiments. Even if our conclusion leads us to part with our home latte art equipment, I wouldn't be disappointed. So, I think this journey will still be interesting either way.